Greetings and welcome. This is Rajiv Makni. The show is the Gadget 360 show and we've got a really cool lineup. Let me tell you what all we have on the show for you today. The Microsoft Surface Laptop Studio. Laptop with a screen that flips around a dynamic woven hinge. It's really well done. Very great, sharp, bright and color accurate display. Premium and unique design with a great keyboard and trackpad. Then we'll move on to something that we were all really impressed with. You know, this is where the adage, small is not necessarily inferior, really comes true. Small in size, the soundbar, but big on sound. Supports Dolby Atmos output, works with a subwoofer and that also a wireless one. Future-proof with support for 4K, 120Hz Dolby Vision pass-through. Performs way better than most soundbars that are even much bigger in size. We'll tell you why we were so impressed. We'll move on to something else that we were very impressed with, the HP Smart Tank 790 printer. Excellent design, small, intuitive little screen on it to configure the printer. Works with Wi-Fi, can be remotely controlled through the HP Smart app. But the best part really is the Smart Tank part of it. Spill-free ink bottles for easy ink refill. And we'll close it all with a really interesting party speaker, the Aiwa MI-X450 Pro Enigma speaker. Comes with a nice retro design, has knobs to control how the music sounds, has two microphones so you can record, you can have karaoke night. Massive with sound.
Sennheiser has launched a new pair of in-ear monitors which are built differently. They are made from a material called zirconium. It is a highly malleable metal that is resistant to corrosion. It was also used to make drill bits for Mars rover. The nature of the material gives it both strength and integrity, which also keeps the earphones lightweight in the ears. For sound, the earphones will use 7mm drivers and precision molded resonator chambers for the signature balanced Sennheiser sound. The earphones are also wired as they are meant to play high-res lossless music. They have been launched for €699. Release details and price for India are as of yet unknown. Lenovo has revealed the Legion Slim 7, a gaming laptop for creators. It comes with the AMD Ryzen 7 processor, NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3060, 16GB RAM, 1TB SSD and a QHD 15-inch 165Hz display, all while weighing less than 2 kilograms. It aims to offer the specs and experience to the gamers while maintaining portability for the creators. In collaboration with Microsoft, the laptop will come with Windows 11 pre-installed along with 3 months of Xbox Game Pass for PC. The laptop is selling for a price of ₹1,44,990.
Our top story today is the Microsoft Surface Laptop Studio. I think with this one coming in, Microsoft's Surface portfolio is looking really good here in India. So it's the spiritual successor to the Surface Book, has a very unique design from every angle. This is a good looking laptop. It consists of a base which has vents for the fan with the keyboard base stacked above it. The lid consists of two parts. The lower lid, which is attached to the hinge at one end and connected to the display at the other. But it's the hinge itself that is very interesting. Dynamic woven hinge. The display can be used like a normal laptop or swiveled into two different positions. And the design, even though it's very unique, makes the laptop slightly thick, I think. Let's take a look at our review.
The Surface Book surely was a very different laptop. In terms of design, utility, and the entire idea of it was unique. And now, Microsoft is launching the Surface Laptop Studio. A laptop that is a successor to the Surface Book in spirit, which aims to fix the prevalent flaws while also keeping the idea of uniqueness intact. Let us tell you how it does that and exactly who is the Microsoft Surface Laptop Studio meant for. So, the most peculiar thing about the Laptop Studio is the design. While it may not be as wide as the Surface Book, it is still quite unique. The laptop sits on a base with vents on the front and the sides. Stacked right above it is the keyboard. The lid also looks like two pieces stacked one over the other. Once it's open, you can understand why it's like that. The display is magnetically attached to the lid by default to work as a standard laptop. One can detach the lower half of the lid and the display can move in on the dynamic woven hinge. It can be brought forward to be placed in the middle of the keyboard and trackpad. In such a placement, the user can scroll through the internet, watch content or play games. The display can be folded even further to place it almost flat on the keyboard, much like a tablet. In such a mode, the user can use the Surface Pen to design, write and draw out anything they want. Even though it looks like a tablet, it weighs a lot more than one. and the deck below the keyboard gives it a different look, making it thicker although not less portable, as even at 1.8 kg it does not seem that heavy. The metal all around adds a premium feel to the laptop, and the lack of ports gives it a step back in terms of dependability. Just two Thunderbolt 4 USB-C ports on the left side, a headphone jack on the right, along with a magnetic charging port. A big step away from the mediocrity of the ports is the excellent keyboard. It is comfortable, responsive, easy to type on with a great amount of travel. The trackpad underneath it is also great. It is made of glass with a smooth upper layer, and it depends on haptic feedback for clicks rather than actual clicks, which makes using it faster and easier. The display itself is an impressive one. It's a 14.4-inch pixel sense panel with a resolution of 2400 by 1600 pixels. It has a refresh rate of 120Hz and supports Dolby Vision. The colors on the display are accurate and look great. The 120Hz keeps things extremely smooth, and the high resolution keeps things sharp. The aspect ratio is 3:2, hence using the display to view web pages and drafting documents is great. There are thick bezels all around the display, and the corners are aggressively rounded, so part of the windows in the corner can get cut off. Paired with the display are speakers which sound nice and loud, but in terms of punch and filling the room, they are quite far off from MacBooks. Right above the display is a 1080p webcam that does a decent job for video calls and works great for Windows Hello Face Unlock. Enough about entertainment, let's talk performance. The variant we had came with 16GB RAM, 11th gen Intel Core i7-11370H processor, an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3050 Ti, and 512GB of storage. The performance in terms of editing videos, photos is just fine. A user can edit a 4K video without much of a struggle. In terms of regular use, the laptop remains extremely smooth and fast throughout, no matter the number of apps open. As for gaming, the GPU is not the most powerful one, hence the user will just get around 40 or 50 FPS with graphics settings kept low. Where the laptop does extremely well is managing the heat, as the laptop never heats up all that much, the fans never kick in no matter what is thrown at the laptop. In terms of battery life, the laptop with average use and 60% brightness can last around 6 to 7 hours at the very most, which is not impressive. But it does charge up pretty fast with the small magnetic and proprietary charger. If we were to put it simply, which we are, the Surface Laptop Studio is a confusing mixed bag. It is designed differently and well, but at the same time, its performance is not the best, all while it is thicker than most laptops with a worse battery. And with the flippable screen, the only people we can recommend it to are the designers and artists who are allergic to the iPad. For everyone else, going for the XPS 15, a MacBook or some other workhorse laptop would be better and more worth it, as the Surface Laptop Studio's price starts at $165,999 for the variant with the Intel Core i5, 16GB of RAM and 512GB of storage, which honestly is not a good deal.
Next story is the Creative Carrier soundbar. Now, this is where we were all very impressed. When it came in, we were like, okay, soundbar hai, chota sa hai. Appears much smaller than most soundbars, but this is meant to be placed, underneath a smaller TV unit. But believe me, even if you have a big TV and you place this out there, this is going to do justice to the sound. It has pass-through of content in 4K HDR with a 120Hz refresh rate, so it is future-proof, at least in terms of ports. Has Bluetooth 5.0 also, so you can connect it to your phone. But it's the sound that we were really impressed with.
Here's something small that promises to deliver big on sound. This is the Creative SXFI Carrier, a Dolby Atmos soundbar with a wireless subwoofer. It has quite a few tricks up its sleeve, and we're here to tell you if, with all of those tricks, it is worth spending your hard-earned money on this soundbar or not. So when you first lay your eyes on the Carrier, the first thing you take notice of is the size. It appears smaller than most of the common soundbars available. It is designed to take up less space on the TV unit, and that is something very important for a lot of people who do not have the widest TV units or the space to mount the soundbar. The design is mostly understated. It consists of a plastic build evenly divided into glossy and matte parts. The subwoofer that comes with it is rather small in size and can be tucked away easily. The remote that comes along with the Carrier is large, with many buttons to control the soundbar, but it is also designed to fit in the hand easily. Flipping to the back of the soundbar, you will find a variety of ports. There are two HDMI 2.1 in ports and one HDMI 2.1 out EARC enabled port. The soundbar supports a pass-through of content which is in 4K with a variable refresh rate of up to 120 Hz and has Dolby Vision support. It also supports auto low latency for an ideal experience with gaming. The resolution can go up to 8K with a sacrifice in refresh rate. The future proofing on the soundbar is as good as it can get. There is also an optical input port for the more traditional kind of experience, and on top of all of this there is an aux port, a USB-C audio port along with a USB-A port for Creative's SXFI products. And if a user wants to use their phone to listen to some music, the Bluetooth 5.0 support has their back. Alright, plenty has been said about the source of the inputs. Let's talk about the output. How does this thing sound? To put it in two words, extremely impressive. There are two speakers at both ends of the carrier's width, three speakers firing forward and two more pointing upwards for the sound to bounce off the ceiling for the overhead sound. The carrier can decode the Dolby Atmos tracks effectively to deliver a three-dimensional soundstage that gets immersive even for the small size of the soundbar, and the subwoofer has a 10-inch driver that adds an immense amount of rumble to the sound to further enhance the audio with low end. And the speakers in the middle ensure clear and loud reproduction of dialogues, which ties the bow of a remarkable experience. The soundbar also supports playback of high-res music, but that's only available with a wired connection since there is no option of streaming through Wi-Fi. The Creative Carrier is a soundbar that does its core job extremely well, has support for most inputs and has enough tech behind it for it to be future-proof. And all of this comes in a small package even when compared to less capable soundbars. So for the expensive price of 99,999 rupees, the carrier is not really expensive, which makes it worth spending your hard-earned money on.
Our next story is again something we were very impressed with. The HP Smart Tank 790 printer comes with this double-decked paper tray, a scanner on top along with an automatic document feeder. Has a light bar above the paper tray which shows the connection status of the printer. And filling up the ink, that is why it's a Smart Tank printer, is really easy. These spill-proof ink bottles comes with ink worth 2 years of printing right inside the box. And the printing quality, stellar with great colors and details. Can also print on both sides of the page without any assistance from the user. Now, dual band Wi-Fi support, stable fast Wi-Fi connection. It's really well done and works really well. You can print from your phone too.
With each launch, it seems like printers are getting easier and easier to set up and use. And rightly so. That's the way it is meant to be with the advances made in technology today. So what we have today is something that is going along this path as well. This is the HP Smart Tank 790 printer. It is a smart, Wi-Fi connected printer which is fast, economical and can print in both black and white and color. Just how does it do that? Let's find out. So as always, let's start with how things look on the surface. The printer comes with a double checker tray, its printing mechanism in the middle, a scanner above it with an automatic document feeder for the scanner on top. There is a matte touchscreen on the front edge. It integrates well with the design. The lower deck of the paper tray can store 250 pages and the output tray above it can carry up to 100 pages. Right above the trays, there is a light bar going across the width which looks amazing. It shows the current connection status for the printer. On the sides, one can easily see the ink tanks, the amount of ink left in them, and there is a small LED for each tank to indicate the amount of ink left in each tank. If the ink has finished, filling it up is pretty easy, all because of the spill-free caps of the ink bottles. Setting up the entire printer from the ink bottles to installing the print heads is as easy as it gets and takes a total of 30 minutes including the Wi-Fi setup. With the printer also come 2 years worth of ink for all of the 4 colors: black, cyan, magenta, yellow. The user can print 12,000 pages in black and 8,000 pages in color. In terms of speed, the printer can print 15 pages per minute in black and 9 pages per minute in color. Printing out fully colored pages shows how well the colors are reproduced and how sharp the details are. Getting a colored photocopy of documents does result in the colors of the copy being a bit less saturated, but nothing beyond what one expects. The printer also supports duplex printing. So if the user wants the pages printed on both sides, once the command is given, the printer handles the rest itself without ever needing any assistance whatsoever. As for smartness, the printer has plenty of it. The 790 has dual band Wi-Fi support, an Ethernet port for an even more stable connection, a low energy Bluetooth connection support for easy wireless printing. The initial setup can be done through the HP Smart app, which will help the user throughout the process. The HP Smart app for smartphones can be used to give remote commands for printing, checking ink levels, all behind a wall of encryption to keep the connection safe. The matte finish touchscreen is also extremely smooth and responsive. It offers a lot of control over how the printer works, putting in commands, checking the level of ink left, and managing the different settings. The HP Smart Tank 790 printer is a great example of how far printers have come. The small display has been perfected, the Wi-Fi connection is now stronger and faster, and printing is fast, smart, remote and economical. The 790 is perfectly suited to the needs of a family or a small to medium-sized office. And for the price of 24,910 rupees, it will be our firm recommendation for all such users.
Let's take a quick break right now on the show. When we come back, lots more happening. Now let's go big on sound with the Aiwa Pro Enigma. This is your party speaker done right. Retro design, leather wrapped around the side and back, digital LCD, silver knobs to tune the music. Supports input through Bluetooth, USB-A, micro SD card. You can do a lot with this one. Does not have any kind of Wi-Fi streaming though. Also comes with 2 microphones so you can record your user's voice or get all set for karaoke night. Let's take a look. Did this shake our walls?
Let's talk about the big one today. The big speaker. With a name as complicated as its meaning, this is the Aiwa MI-X450 Pro Enigma. It's not only big in size but big on the list of things that it can do, and today we will tell you all about it. First things first, the design. It's different. Not as elegant as the products from Marshall, but just a few ways away from Marshall-esque. It has leather wrapped around the sides and back. Up front is the grille with a digital LCD and a bunch of knobs on the upper edge. Up top are controls for music and a huge dial for the volume. On the back are many ports. An aux-in port, USB-A port to play music from a pen drive if you still have one of those, a micro SD card slot, a headphone jack for audio monitoring, and a port to use the speaker as a guitar amp. And all of this fits into a very retro aesthetic which looks good in the brown, gold and silver color scheme. The speaker also comes with 2 mics that connect wirelessly to the speaker. They are designed well and sturdy but fail to match the aesthetic of the speaker itself. Now, while talking about the design, we saw certain things stand out. What's the purpose of those knobs? Well, half of them control the sound that comes out of the speakers. One can easily tune the sound using the knobs rather than configuring it on an EQ in an app that you have to download. Fits in perfectly with the retroness of it all. What about the other half? They control the sound output of the mics. Yes, the mics connect to the speaker and can be used to record audio or for hosting a karaoke night on the weekends. And apart from the music being played out of the pen drive, micro SD card or the device connected through the aux, the user can also connect their phone via Bluetooth, but sadly even today it lacks Wi-Fi connectivity. As for how the music coming out sounds, it's pretty good. It's not perfect, and that's where the knobs on the front of the speaker come in handy. By default, the sound coming out of the triple driver setup is very bass heavy. So decreasing the bass a little and driving up the other frequency makes it sound much better. Once the sound is tuned, the bassy thumps shake the floor, the mids are clear and the highs are sufficient. The instrument separation is still lacking and the details share the same fate. At 50% volume, the Enigma blows out the room, and at 100%, it can blow out the house. Moving the connection from Bluetooth to aux and playing high-res tracks is where the sound output sees improvement in terms of depth separation and details, and that is all because of the support for hi-fi playback. This is where the Wi-Fi connectivity could have helped a lot, and it is sad to see it missing. As for battery life, it's not impressive. On a single charge, it lasts for 3 to 8 hours, which varies with volume. On most days, while being used inside a room at 50% volume, it should last for 7 hours, which is average. On top of all this, the speaker takes a long while to charge, almost 7 hours, which is pretty astonishing. And to ruin it further, it does not have USB-C charging, it uses a proprietary charger. So the Aiwa MI-X450 Pro Enigma has multiple capabilities, but at the same time it also suffers a little with sound and a lot with charging. And even though it has a few things working for it, it is hard to recommend a speaker selling for 59,990 rupees which does not have Wi-Fi connectivity in this day and age. So at the end of the day, it can only be suggested to the niche audience who want the design, the guitar amp, the control and the karaoke mics with the Enigma.
That then is the Gadget 360 show for this week, but we've got a great array of stuff coming up next week. Do join me on the show.